Welcome to a V-EB04 rulings video. Bushiroad Japan has issued rulings for the No Protect Club booster set because reading is hard, while ranting online how Genesis should have been a Protect clan. Special thanks to reading master Joshua for once again doing translations that Google Translate fails to comprehend. Let's get started. What happens when I use Oracle Queen Himiko's skill when Neon Gize is face up in my G-zone? Neon Gize will still change the power increase of that trigger into binding a Zerath dragon from your G-zone and will trigger per grade of your opponent's vanguard. How is the process for Oracle Queen Himiko skill resolved? You resolve it one by one as you would resolve trigger effects from a drive or damage check. This also means any other card effect that triggers and standby in between each trigger check is able to activate their respective ability. Would I be able to pay the cost for Mystery Flare Dragon's skill of getting an extra turn at my end phase, even if it disappears from my vanguard circle during this turn like striding or getting retired by Lost Legend? Yes, you can. The ability has already resolved when you rode Mystery Flare Dragon. The cost just happens to be paid on the end phase. Is it mandatory that I pay the cost for Mystery Flare Dragon's ability to get an extra turn? No, however you also don't get an extra turn if you didn't pay the cost. In what order does the abilities of Mystery Flare Dragon resolve? It will be resolved in order as listed on the card. You cannot skip or do it out of order. Can I use Tank Mouse's ability between School Hunt Leopold's first and second ability resolution? Yes, you may. Think of Leopold's auto ability as two separate abilities. You resolve auto abilities on standby in any order you see fit. I break ride School Hunter Leopold on Honorary Professor Chat Noir and gained an auto ability. Does the auto ability gained from Chat Noir trigger twice every time my rear guard attacks? Yes, it will. Leopold's continuous ability, which lets its auto ability activate twice, also applies to the gained auto ability. If a draw or heal trigger was applied to Battle Deity of the Night Artemis while having rear guards with godly equip gauge, would it let me draw or heal multiple times? No, draw and heal trigger effects are not given to the unit, but are applied to the player. For extreme fight format, if a front trigger is applied to Battle Deity of the Night Artemis, will it also be applied to rear guards in the back row with godly equip gauge? Yes, it will. Artemis will apply whatever trigger effect she herself gets to all units with godly equip gauge. On a side note, front row units with godly equip gauge will get 20k power instead. What happens when I choose Battle Deity of the Night Artemis on Vanguard for a stand triggers effect? Rear guards with godly equip gauge will get power and stand back up. Artemis herself will only get the power. She cannot stand. Is Battle Deity of the Night Artemis's continuous ability also applied during opponent's turn? Yes, it will. If my rear guard receives a godly equip gauge after a trigger check, will that trigger effect also be applied to that unit? No, it will not. They must have a godly equip gauge by the time the trigger resolves. What are godly equip gauges exactly? It works technically the same as Tachikaze's armed equip gauge, the only difference is where it comes from. However, they are referred differently and cannot function the same way in extreme fight format. Bushiroad could change this rulings in the future. What happens when I don't have a grade 4 unit in my deck to ride with when I use Lost Legend skill? Your vanguard will remain as Lost Legend, but on the end of turn you still need to choose a grade 3 unit from your soul to ride. And if you don't have a grade 3 in soul, Lost Legend will remain as your vanguard. What happens when I superior rode a grade 4 unit with Lost Legend skill, but at the end of the turn there isn't any grade 3 unit in my soul? You will have to ride whatever unit in your soul remains. And if you don't have any cards left in the soul, you automatically lose the game, because the grade 4 unit will be retired due to Lost Legend skill, leaving you with no unit on vanguard. Can I pay a soul blast cost, even though I only have one or less cards in soul, when I reduced a soul blast cost with Battle Maiden Shitateru Hime or Mihai Kari Hime's skill? Yes, you can. I reduce a soul blast cost by 2, then use an ability that soul blast any number of cards like Ultimate Regalia of Crimson Muspel, and only properly soul blast one card. Will this count as 3 soul blast? No, even though the soul blast will be reduced by 2, the other part of Muspel's ability will reference the number of actual soul blast you did. Muspel will only give one rear guard 4k power, and will not be able to meet the soul blast 3 requirement to draw or counter charge. If I reduce the next time I Soul Blast by 2, but only used up one of that Soul Blast reduction, can I use the remaining one Soul Blast reduction for any following abilities after the first? No, they cannot be split, and will immediately be applied to any Soul Blast that happens next. Does Soul Blast reduction abilities stack? Yes, as long as there hasn't been any Soul Blast abilities that happened in between, the cost reduction will stack up. Is it possible to use Monarchulus Tiger's ability when boosting a unit called Bizoa? Yes you can, because it is not choosing the attacking unit for its ability. Stop asking this for the fucking 100th time. Can I use Wedge Move Dragon as a stride fodder? Yes you can. Can my opponent call all the units to one rear guard circle when I use Witch of Frogs Melissa? No they cannot. Multiple cards being called at the same time must be placed in different circles. Until when does the effect of your opponent abilities cannot be activated due to this call by Witch of Frogs Melissa last? The effect will last until you finished resolving Melissa's ability. Abilities that says when placed, or when another unit appears on rear guard will not activate, trigger, or be put on standby. If my opponent called a rear guard that has an ability which triggers when another rear guard is retired, or when a rear guard is called over with Witch of Frogs Melissa's ability is retired, will that rear guard's ability activate? Yes it will. The retire happens due to the overloaded circle after Melissa's ability is resolved. Melissa's restriction on abilities no longer applies. And that concludes this V-EB04 rulings video. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if the V series is starting to become a clusterfuck of abilities.